Good morning, Bellemans. Hope everybody is having a nice Memorial Day weekend. Unfortunately, no Memorial Day picnic this year at Belleman, something we always look forward to, but it won't happen this year. There is, however, a service at 10 a.m. on Monday on Facebook, and that will be live from Belleman's at 10 a.m., so hope everybody can tune in to that. Emmalynn, do you want to say hi to anybody in the Sunday school class today?
Hi, Ashton. Hi, Cooper.
Archie, do you want to say hi to anybody?
My mom, Papa,
Okay. All right, we're going to get going with our Bible reading from Miss Kelly.
Good morning, Sunday school kids. Today our story comes from Joshua chapter 6. It is about the Battle of Jericho, and it is titled, A Wall Falls Down. God gave his people a new leader. His name was Joshua. He led God's people to the new land that God had promised to give them. The first city they came to was Jericho. It had a big wall around it. Joshua sent 2 men to Jericho to see what it was like. The king of Jericho found out that the men were in his city. He wanted to catch them, but they went to the house of a lady named Rahab. She hid them on her roof. The king's men couldn't find them there. Rahab's house was part of the city wall, so when it was night, she let the 2 men down through her window by a rope. They promised that they would help her later, since she helped them. The city of Jericho was strong, but God told Joshua how to take it. He did just as God told him. He marched his army around the city 1 time each day for 6 days. The next day they marched around the city 7 times. The priests blew their trumpets, the people shouted, and the walls of Jericho fell down. The 2 men ran back to Rahab's house. They helped her get out of the city safely. Then Rahab and her family lived with God's people.
Memorial Day, that's a day that we set aside to remember those brave men and women who have died defending the freedoms of our country. Yes.
And some of our family members, we pray for them that they don't die.
That's right, that they're safe and that they can protect our country. That's right, we have many family members who are either in the military or have previously served in the military. That's right. Do you think God likes war? Not really. He doesn't like killing, that's for sure. He doesn't like unjustified killing. The 6th commandment says, thou shalt not kill, which means more on the murder side. But as terms of war, sometimes actually God needs us to go to war to protect the innocent people and to defeat evil in the world. Yes.
But if the police officers kill a bad guy, that's good.
Yes, if the bad guy is doing something really bad and maybe the bad guy might kill somebody else, sometimes the police officer has to use deadly force in order to kill the bad guy. That's true. That's kind of what war is about. And in the Old Testament, there's actually several times when God ordered his chosen people, the Hebrews, to go to war so that they could take over the Promised Land. And one of those battles was called the Battle of Jericho. I'm sure you've heard about the Battle of Jericho. When Joshua led the Israelites, they surrounded the city of Jericho, they marched around, and eventually they shouted and blew the trumpets, and the walls came tumbling down. And that's a true story. That's not a Disney story or anything like that. In fact, archaeologists have found evidence. Archaeologists are people that dig through the ground and look for things that happened in the past. They found evidence that the walls collapsed, just like they said. They found evidence of the city that was burned, just like it said in the Bible, that they burned the city. They found evidence that not all of the wall collapsed. There was a little part of the wall, probably where Rahab lived, just like in the story that Miss Kelly just read, that was still standing. And they went and got her out of her house, which was built into the wall, just like it said in the Bible. Archaeology has shown that some of that stuff is actually verifiable and true. So that story is true. And God ordered the Israelite people to do that because the people who were in Jericho were evil people. They actually used to sacrifice young children to their gods, and they did all sorts of bad things. And so God needed that evil to be wiped out. And so he ordered the Israelites to capture the city of Jericho like that. And more recently, in terms of our country, we've had to go to war in World War I and World War II and other wars to defend our freedoms and defend the freedoms of the world, because there were people in World War II, the Germans and the Japanese at that time were run by very bad people who wanted to do bad things to other people, and we had to stop them. Yes.
And Abraham Lincoln.
That was the Civil War. Yep, that was another war. That was an unfortunate war in our country's history.
Lincoln freed the people, right?
He freed the slaves. That's correct. Those were the slaves he freed. So, and particularly in World War II, we had to stop the Germans and the Japanese and the people who were ruling Germany and Japan at that time were taking over other countries, and they were doing very bad things to certain people. So we had to stop them. And now I'm going to show you a picture of someone here on the computer. And I want you to tell me, do you know who that is?
No.
You do not know who that is. That is your great uncle, which is Pop's uncle and Nana's brother. His name was Earl, and he was on a aircraft carrier in the Pacific Ocean about 75 years ago. He was killed. He was only 21 years old. He was engaged to be married, and he was killed in the Pacific Ocean by a Japanese bomber who hit the ship with some bombs, and it blew up the ship, and he and many other men were killed that day. And unfortunately, in war, a lot of people have to die so that other people can live. And he died so that we might have our freedom and that we could be living here in America today. And that's what Memorial Day is all about. It's about remembering people like your great Uncle Earl, who died in battle, and he never got to live a full life because he sacrificed his life, and many others did the same thing in World War II. Yes?
And Veterans Day is celebrating the people that are still alive.
We honor those who served or are serving in the military
pray for
and are
them.
still. That's right, exactly. So Memorial Day is about remembering people like our great Uncle Earl, who died in battle, and many others, thousands and thousands of other people just like him, who gave their lives for our freedoms, and we thank them for that and remember them on Memorial Day.
And Veterans Day and Memorial Day are kind of alike. It's just that we pray for the people that are alive and are still alive.
That's right. So it's very important to remember those people who served in the military.
Aren't alive.
That's right. So God doesn't like war, but he likes us to be free. He likes us to have freedom of worship. There's many places in the world, there's more than 20 countries in the world where people can't have a church service. They can't be Christians. Did you know that? And so it's important that we have military that defends our freedom so that we can worship how we want to. All right? And now we're going to end with not a song today, but a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Please stand and join us in reciting the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy Memorial Day!
Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, everyone, and be safe. Bye-bye.